Right, thanks for staying with us. It's day 2 of the final voter registration weekend before the general elections this year. More than 23,000 registration sites will be available today from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. around the country. To answer all your inquiries and provide useful information, the Rivonia Circle has created a chatbot to help ordinary citizens understand the voting system. Joining us now to discuss this is Kanya Burns Ngamashe, who's a program coordinator at the Rivonia Circle. A very good morning to you. Thank you so much for your time. Today is the final voter registration day after, having it open yesterday, and the extended hours we saw or are still witnessing with the Home Affairs Department. The IEC is hoping that people come out in their numbers. Talk to us about this fantastic platform that helps and informs people who are thinking of voting and may not have the right answers, or perhaps those who are simply not interested.
So at the Rivonia Circle, we are really trying to make the process of registering to vote as easy as possible, as accessible as possible, and as understandable as possible. So we have created Toko the Bot, who is available on our website. And the whole idea behind Toko the Bot is that we want to encourage voting registration as well as participation, especially among young people, because we really recognize the importance of ushering in a new generation of voters in 2024 and beyond. So Toko is very user-friendly, culturally accessible as well. She uses memes, videos, and all sorts of things to sort of reach out to the youth, to have conversations to them about questions around voting, questions around registering to vote, why it's important to vote, the thinking around voters, and getting a sense of what voters are thinking towards the election next year. So it's not necessarily about who people are thinking to vote for, but why people are thinking about voting and why people aren't thinking about voting.
You say she's culturally acceptable. In fact, I interacted with her this morning and she called me Chomi, which really gives you a sense of an understanding on who she's talking to. Why is it so important, though, to drive this message for young people to really take advantage of this opportunity and register to vote and ensure that they make their mark?
So Toko is also about bringing convenience into people's home. It has a link to the IEC website, which helps people to register. If you do get stuck, Toko is able to then help assist in that. This weekend is the last weekend to physically go to voting stations to register. So part of Toko's job is to then help people who aren't going to physically register. And it's specifically targeting young people because we have very, very low numbers when it comes to young people and registering. So getting them to talk very casually about why they aren't voting, perhaps to also encourage people to vote. I think it's very important for young people to show up for themselves in the elections for next year and the other elections coming.
In your efforts to change the narrative and really give young people a sense of understanding on the role they play in the country and what their vote will essentially mean, what are you finding as you interact with young people and look at the demographics on some of the reasons why so many may be disheartened?
I think a lot of things are disheartening young people. I mean, from accessibility to higher education to the youth unemployment rate in the country. And so young people in this country, and from the work that we've done at the Rivonia Circle, are now saying they no longer believe that getting involved in politics will make a difference in their lives. So part of having Toko the Bot and part of the work that we are doing at the Rivonia Circle is sort of reignite that spirit of let's vote together. Let's understand why voting matters. Let's understand the power that we have in our numbers. So part of the conversation that people can have with Toko the Bot is why it's important to vote and why you think it's important to vote. And she also does conversations around where you can vote. If you're struggling to find your voting district, she's very helpful in terms of assisting in that manner.
And looking at the demographics, I mean, there's a lot of detail that you fill in as you interact with Toko the Bot. She wants to know your name, where you live, how old you are. Why is that important as you get a better sense of who exactly you're talking to?
I think it's very important to have the demographics of people because we understand the voter base. It's very important for us to understand the voter base and where the voting, where the the concentration of our voters lie. And part of the thing that we are doing is to collect data to understand who we reach out to, because this is the last weekend to register physically, and soon the president is going to announce when the election is going to take place. So the reason why we do demographics on the chatbot is to then understand, once the registration is closed, who are we targeting? Because part of voting is then encouraging people to show up. Yes, Toko the bot has conversations about registering to vote, but it's very important then for us to make sure that the people who are registered to vote actually show up. And so then we will be able to target our messaging towards the groups based on the demographics that we get from the chatbot.
How much of an impact can young people have on combating political apathy and the disillusionment that we often hear of?
I mean, young people make up over 60% of the country's population. And so numbers really do matter in this upcoming election. Young people then need to decide on issues. I think what needs to be communicated as the voters, what are the issues that we are voting for this year and what matters to young people the most. So if young people are then able to organize themselves around specific issues, they will then be able to then say, we as young people want this and this and this from our government, and this is what we expect our vote to do for us. So what Toko also does on the website as well is to understand and take people through what can you do with the vote and what does your vote actually do for you.